Hey Dimi, so it's amazing to have you back on the podcast today. We're so excited to have you here in a slightly different light. But for anybody that didn't catch you before, can you give us a little bit of an intro? Tell our listeners who it is you are and what it is you're up to.
Yes. So, hello everyone. I'm Dimi, and I am currently a life coach. I'm also a personal trainer, but I'm making the full transition into life coaching. And before that, I was working in hospitality, hotels, food and beverage sector. And I feel like I've just been making my way through different journeys that have aligned with me. And right now, this is where I am. I'm in the coaching world.
Awesome. And obviously, like we met back, I think it was in 2016, I
Yeah.
believe. It seems like an age away now. And obviously, I used to work as a general manager for a obviously big health chain in the Middle East, and I remember interviewing you, and obviously offering you the job. You're coming in, and I remember you're quite like fresh face to that. Your energy was extremely high. It was absolutely refreshing to see, and you turned out to be like an amazing personal trainer, full of energy for your clients, and just your every time I spoke to you, you're always talking about this client, that client, and everything that you're talking about. Every time you were in that environment, it was always about helping other people, helping your clients get the results they want, just in any way that you can. You're always thinking about them, and that was actually like amazing. But what we want you to kind of tell our listeners is a bit about yourself, like before that as well. What was your life like before that point when we met?
The first word that comes up is unconscious. And I've thought about this a lot. I was very unconscious. I've always been into personal development since I was young. I was always reading these books, but I can see I was still very unconscious. All the choices I made, the beliefs or the needs or anything that was driving me was not my authentic self at all. It was completely always what I thought I should be doing. I remember always being very stressed, or stressed wasn't the correct word. Like I was always maybe a mix of anxiety or stress or some kind of build up over there, because I didn't know it at the time, but at that time I wasn't really following what I really wanted to do, because I know that my purpose in this lifetime is to teach and to help facilitate healing and anything in this category. And I was always working in hotels before. And I remember now, if I think back, I feel at that time I was totally disconnected from myself. Like now, the difference is I'm completely in touch and aware of myself. In that time, all the decisions I was making, everything was made purely from a point of view that I didn't even know. It was probably on unconscious programming from growing up and all of this kind of things. So yeah, I would say all the decisions I was making and the experiences I was having was not authentic, and it was completely unconscious, and I was not aware of the decisions I was making and how they would affect me. And I didn't even know the word alignment and anything like this. So I would definitely would describe myself before as completely unconscious, and I say that in a loving way. I say that in a understanding that we're growing kind of way. Yeah.
When, like, at some point though, because obviously you shifted from hospitality with this almost like innate knowing that you wanted to be helping people in this healing space in whatever form, at some point you must have become conscious to make that move from hospitality into the fitness and personal training space, right? So what happened there? When did you kind of make that decision that, though, actually, do you know what, this is the path that feels more aligned right now?
I was in that time, I was working in a hotel in Abu Dhabi, and I was doing something with sales, but in food and beverage. I was always in food and beverage. And I remember now when you ask me that question, I remember looking around always in the hotel, and I would look at the directors, the managers, all of the stuff. And everyone just looked so tired and unhealthy. And they were always angry, and I realized that they never used to be like that. They became like that because of the industry. And then I took a look at myself, and I was like, I'm not helping anybody here. Like, I'm not helping. And something inside me, I've always been someone to help. And I just realized, and just before that job, that was a short job. I was there for like a few months only. Before that job, I was in Dubai, and I had already started studying personal training. But in that time, I was like, I'm going to study it, and I'm going to start going to the gym and train and just learn about exercise. And maybe I'll become a trainer like in 2 or 3 years. And then now fast forwarding back to Abu Dhabi's hotel where I was working in, I just, the only thing that I remember was I kept looking around, and I realized no one was happy, no one was fulfilled, no one, and these thoughts they wouldn't leave me alone. And I kept thinking how I'm going to be like that if I stay, because these people are good people. They're not bad. They're just tired, and they're in a loop. They're just in a loop, and it's not going to end. And the main thing that I kept thinking is, I'm not helping anybody here. Like, I want to help people. And the funny thing is, you have to be careful what you wish for. I got fired from that job. Like, I got fired, and thank goodness I was on the ending of finishing my reps, and that's when I emailed John and a few other fitness first, and then John was one of the people who replied, and it was just worked out in the way that, like, I basically asked for that to happen. So
awesome. And that was the funny thing. I remember when you came in for your interview, and you were quite nervous. You were still completing your personal trainer qualification at that time. And I remember even when I just saw, like, you didn't have that baggage that a lot of people in that industry do. You were so focused on helping others instead of focusing on kind of other aspects of it, which was quite refreshing to see as well. And I thought, okay, I think obviously you'll do very well here. And I remember when you started and just talking to people, it just became natural to you. And the funny thing is, when you first started getting your first clients and you started helping them, you could see that it was something that you enjoyed doing. And for you, how did that feel when you started actually being able to put those skills into practice and actually being able to use your knowledge to help others in that scenario? How did that feel for you?
It felt, at first it was very scary. I kept doubting myself because it was something completely new, but I didn't give up. And it felt incredible to be able to, you can see you're physically helping someone. It's not something small, like you're actually helping someone feel better, move their body, and you're kind of forced in a way to take care of yourself as well. I mean, if you want to be an example. And it just felt so fulfilling, and it was something that was completely missing, and it was a need that I was not fulfilling before at all. And it helped me know what was missing in my life, because sometimes there's something, you want to do something, but you don't know how to do it. And then after getting my confidence in personal training, because the first few months was very scary, I truly started to feel the fulfilled feeling. And no matter how many hours, because it's not like we know how long hours personal trainers work, but no matter how many hours I worked all day, I was so happy. Like, I was tired, but I would always feel so happy because I was truly loving what I was doing. And the majority of clients would always feel better after a session. If they came in sad, they would feel happy. If they had, they would get results. We would celebrate the small wins. And I just felt like something finally felt right. Like, just something clicked. Everything that I was looking for, even though I didn't know how it was going to happen, it just came together and it clicked.
I love that so much. Like you said, like that word alignment, you wasn't even aware of the word alignment until suddenly you're feeling it and you're in that moment. And obviously that showed with your clients, the results in the workplace. That's obviously something that just come really natural to you once you was kind of on that path and had that momentum. So how do you then transition now, like what sparked you to then transition into the life coaching side of things, this journey of entrepreneurship that you're on?
Well, I think it started when I studied with precision nutrition. I loved it started with precision nutrition, and I think I took an interest in eating disorders and body image. And then all of that research and everything started leading me to coaches, like different kinds of coaches. And it's that's ignited the spark. And I love researching. I spend my days just researching stuff. And I realized there's a lot of, at that time, there was a lot of different kind of coaches, eating disorder coaches, all these kind of coaches. And amongst all my searches, obviously life coaching kept coming up. And I think at first I just decided to read about it and study about it just for myself, like a while ago, before I even decided to make a transition. And I studied a few courses on my own. Even if it was a certification, I had no intention to become a life coach, but I just really fell in love with it. And I saw all the branches that you could go into. I mean, it didn't have to be specifically life coaching. Like, that's a great base, but it can really branch into. Yeah. And every time I found something new, like life coaching or whatever the branches are, I felt so excited, and I felt like this fire in my chest. And sometimes I would try, as you know, do too many things in one time, and I'm obsessed with trying to learn it all. And it just felt right. And I think it just stumbled from there. And so it definitely started with studying precision nutrition, eating disorders, body image. It went into this category, and then I opened this whole door of coaching.
Amazing. It's so interesting just listening to you speak there, is that you said when you was learning about personal training, it wasn't about becoming a personal trainer, but in the process of learning, you became a personal trainer, and then that reflected in your life, right? Like what happened on the inside for you rocked up on the outside, which is amazing. But then it sounds like the exact same thing has happened into the coaching parts. Like you said, you've opened a whole new world of coaching, and actually the more you learn, the more you've started to become that. And it just goes back to that classic quote of be the change you want to see in the world. And it's just beautiful, because you're a living example of how that's happened for you. You've gone inward first, and then you've explored and you've listened to those feelings, which I love, by the way. You listen to those feelings of the excitement, the things that are lighting you up, and you've been able to obviously now progress on to being a really great coach as well as personal trainer. You're juggling both, which is amazing, and it's that full experience for somebody. So obviously we started to then work together last year, didn't we? You kind of jumped in for some coaching yourself. So why did you sign up for coaching? What was your thought process?
So I reached a point where I was like, I have done everything I can on my own. I know we have all the answers inside us, and I know that we do have the power inside us, but sometimes we don't know how to access it anymore. I have read so many books. I've taken a million gazillion courses. I've listened to the podcasts, and they did help. I'm not saying they didn't, but they help so much. And then you need someone to guide you. And I know that whatever coaching you take, for whatever reason you're going for, it will get you there faster, plus other things that you had no idea that a coach could help you on, because it will come up during the journey. And I always knew that I wanted to contact you for coaching. And actually, I remember last year, January, I was like, I want to do life coaching with you guys. But it just wasn't working in last year, January. And then I think it was September we started. I think I just woke up one day and I was like, that's it. I can't. And I just was waiting for my one client to renew, and I was like, that's it. As soon as that happens, I'm contacting you guys. And I just knew that that's what I wanted. And I knew that if I don't, I'm going to stay stuck in this position of where I was mentally until I get to a guidance, because I really tried on my own. I tried, and I did improve on my own, but I knew that I would be able to get past whatever I thought was holding me back with your guidance.
For sure. I like, obviously, like what you said, it's very important for people to recognize that regardless of where you are, what industry and how much you know, everyone can benefit from a coach, and everyone needs help now and again. Like, we don't know everything. There's a lot of stuff we've forgotten. And sometimes a coach just helps us to become aware by asking certain questions that spark that kind of that thing, that light again, that helps us remember and helps us to then go further onto that path. And that's very, very important. So we've been doing this for a long time, but doesn't mean we know everything. Sometimes we do need coaching. Everyone needs coaches. And for you, obviously, what is it that you specifically wanted to achieve? Like, what were your goals going into coaching in the first place? Or why did you want to do it? What did you want to get out of it?
I actually felt as a life coach myself. So last year, I resigned from Fitness First in February, and then I was on my own from March. And for that time, I was still like, okay, I'm still going to do personal training, but I want to make the transition into life coaching. And that was one of the things that I got stuck on. And I don't know, like at that time, I didn't know if it was beliefs or system or anything. And one of the things that I personally wanted help with was to understand why I felt like I couldn't move forward with my own life coaching journey for myself and my clients. So that was one of the things I wanted to work out. I had no expectations because I didn't know what it would be, because you might think sometimes it's one thing, but it's not. And I also felt like I couldn't really be a life coach until I have my own coach, because I'm sure you know this quote that says you can only meet others as deep as you've met yourself, or something like this. Yeah. And even though I tried with close friends before, having paying clients, live coaching sessions and all of this, but I realized I needed to be coached. I needed the coaching journey myself. I needed to be guided. I needed accountability. I needed all of these things to be a better coach. So that is another thing I expected to come out as well, to be a better coach for my clients. I do believe coaches need coaches. I'm a huge believer in that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so interesting that you said there is sometimes we think it's one thing and we find out it's something else, because we had like some key outcomes that you wanted to achieve at the very beginning, didn't we? There was like 10, 11 things on that list that you were very clear on. It's like, this is what I want to see by the end of coaching, or at the end of the coaching that we'd started anyways. And when we kind of got about like halfway through, I believe it was, like, because that's usually when we do a check-in and kind of measure, you was like, well, they're not even the same things. I didn't even remember that was the things that I wanted to achieve. And then you ended up like working on all of this other stuff that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
What do you remember what some of those things were now? Like the very first things that you said?
I think it was, one of them was, I feel like there's something in my way.
Yep.
Like, but I don't know what it is. I was like, it's invisible force. And the other thing was consistency. I thought I wasn't consistent. I know there was money mindset. I think, I don't know if this was put in the beginning, but I know there was something with body image, but I'm not sure if that was in the beginning or like later on it came up. I don't remember what else right now.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Like the things that you've remembered there, because they're common things that people come to us with as well. You know, it's like that invisible force that's holding us all back. You know, we've all felt it, we've all been there, and it's just so interesting. Like 'cause when you said that, then like you just the tone of your voice, you laughed a little bit as well, as if like, what was that about? Like, talk us through what happened there with that one.
Yeah, so that was actually funny because I definitely said like, okay, one of the things was there's this like thing in my way, it's this visible force, and I just can't achieve anything because I feel like it's blocking me. And we spoke about that, and actually, it's funny. Even now, I can feel it. There was many things you asked me, and immediately I knew it wasn't true. Like you asked me, okay, is this true? Like, do you really feel that there's something in your way? And I was like, not really, actually. You know, we just create these things for many reasons, but we create them, but actually they're not there. And we know the truth. We know there's some of the things that we think is challenging us, but it's not. And many of the stuff, like the invisible force and other things, when you asked me, do you really think that's true? And there was like a little voice inside me, like, you know, it's not true. Like, and then you just eliminated it. You're like, okay, it's done.
And it's amazing because anyone listening to this, they might think, well, is it really that simple? But it actually is. Sometimes we literally need almost a mirror to show something back to you, for you to be able to actually understand it and digest it and integrate it in a way that's actually going to help you moving forwards. And having this idea and this notion that there's something inside of me that's blocking me, or there's something there, you know, that can be different for everybody, right? It's belief systems, it's people, it's systems, it's processes. Like you said in the beginning, you didn't know what the thing was, and actually when we looked behind the curtain to see if there was that invisible thing there actually wasn't anything. And then poof, straight away, that's a paradigm shift right there, because immediately you're now living from this space of, well, what if nothing can hold me back? What if there are no blocks? And that takes courage to be able to move into that paradigm, because it's very courageous when you start to allow yourself to admit that out loud. Because then when you admit it out loud, now there's an expectation of yourself, and there's a standard, and there's now this different kind of drive inside you that you're now going to, you know, carry forwards. And that's obviously what's led you then to be able to achieve all of the other things, like you said there, one of the things in the beginning that you said you want to do is make sure you're using your energy sufficiently, so you're not wasting time doing things, right? And making sure that you are consistent, and you're tapping into this money mindset and understanding what's going on there. And when you immediately start to take ownership and you're like, no, actually nothing can hold me back, you can go after those things and pretty much squash them, can't you? Yeah. I'm curious to know, like, at what point did you start noticing like changes within yourself?
It was actually probably from the middle of the coaching onwards. Things started integrating. Things started actually making sense. And it was simple things as well. Like, okay, besides the beliefs, like what we just spoke about now, immediately we eliminated so many of those beliefs that I came to you with. We eliminated them immediately. And you were like, and you did it so fast. You were like, do you believe that? No, okay, moving on. Like, it was really fun. And from those moments forward, I felt like those small little weights were lifted. And I actually, now that you asked that question, actually, I stopped those ones we eliminated from the beginning. I never thought about them again. And when we went to the middle check-in, and you asked me, do you still feel this way? And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even remember that. I haven't thought about that since the first day we did the questionnaire. So actually, I would say changes started happening from the start. And then I felt integration stuff happening from the middle onwards. And even now, we're in the second month after we ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we ended in the beginning of January, right? Yeah. I'm still feeling the effects of the coaching. Like, a lot of the stuff is still being like there. And every day I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I wouldn't be having these thoughts, or I wouldn't be doing this action, or I wouldn't be doing if I didn't go through the coaching. And by the way, I started my year with such an amazing energy and mindset, which wouldn't have happened if I didn't go through your coaching journey at all. I actually spent my New Year's Eve alone by choice, and I decided to, and at that time we were ending our coaching and we had the goals, we were in the goal matrix thing, and it was perfect timing. And I was working through the goals and everything, and I just had the most beautiful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, just sitting with all this integration and change that had happened in the past 4 months with our coaching journey. And my year wouldn't have started in that way if I didn't take that leap with you guys.
Amazing. That's so nice. It's really humbling to hear that as well, because that's why we do what we do. We love to hear, especially even after coaching has ended. And that's the thing. So many people think, oh yeah, it's great to have a coach, but then what happens when coach goes away? It's like problems come back. They don't.
No.
Right? It's about creating that lasting change, and that's kind of the point. So I just want to pick up on one thing here. Is like you said, there's like changes started to happen in the beginning. The things that pretty much you came to coaching with, you already almost ticked off within the first couple of sessions. Why did you continue if you'd already achieved those things?
Good question. Thank you for putting me on the spot here. Okay, so I continued because I do have one side of me is that I am a coach, and I know that there's more deeper. There's always something deeper. I knew that even if I didn't know what it was. And so even though we eliminated some of those beliefs or challenges that I thought I had in the beginning, I knew that there was much more deeper work to do. And I know that integration takes time. It cannot just happen. You can give amazing information in a session, but like that, it takes time for it to settle in and to integrate and to actually understand. And many of the stuff, like every session we had, some stuff would go in immediately for me, but sometimes maybe 4 or 5 sessions later, I would be like, oh, okay, that's what you said a few weeks ago finally has integrated like into me. And I know that takes time. And there's no way that a lasting change can happen in just a few sessions. You've got to stick through the whole journey, and you have your own program to lasting change. So I knew that, and there was no way I was going to back out. Like, okay, those beliefs are done. I'll see you later. Like, no ways. I knew that there was more coming, and I was all for it. I wanted the whole experience.
And that's the thing, is so many people go into coaching, or they go into their challenges, and they change things on the surface level, right? Because it would be very easy for me to say, yeah, amazing, job done, fantastic, can you write us a nice testimony, good to go, we'll go on to the next person, and there's a lot of coaches out there that do that, and that's obviously not who we are. We go to the root of what is going on. It's not about pulling out the weeds, it's about really getting in there, going deep, making sure that everything is resolved, because from there you get to then live in this place of creation, and that's a beautiful place to be able to operate from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's important for people to also realize that coaching is individual. It's different for everyone. And while we are very confident if people do the work, they're going to get good results, and they're quick results. But like you said, usually with most people, there is deeper work that needs to be done to keep those results and create that lasting change. It's the same with most things that people do. They do something, they feel good, they get some results, and they go, great, I can stop now because I've got the result. And the fact is, okay, you've got it, but now you need to learn how to keep it, create that lasting change and longevity in there. And that's where the process of coaching becomes different and unique and individual for each person. And I'm sure people listening will be interested to know about like your process. What did the process look like for you? Like what was your favorite part of coaching?
My favorite part was, first of all, honestly, my favorite part was the fact that I didn't have any expectations, because I didn't want to create expectations. So my favorite part was just how it flowed, and the journey through which you took me. Like, you obviously have your own blueprint, and the most amazing thing is it's all literally, it works, like it integrates within each other. And every week there was completely new shift or work that I had to work on unexpectedly. And I enjoyed also the way that each session felt safe. So actually, a lot of the times we're judging ourselves. That's why we might think other people are judging us. And sometimes I felt that in myself, but I knew that in the sessions, I'm going to be safe to think and feel and ask and do what I need to do to be able to overcome whatever I'm trying to overcome. So I truly enjoyed the safe container that you created for this journey. And I enjoyed as well a lot how the linguistics part, Charlotte would always correct me every time while I'm talking. She would be like, I am, or I this, or I that, like, you know, change your linguistics. And it made me so aware. And then it reached a point where I was like, I better be careful what I say in this session because she's going to correct me. And, you know, it changed how I speak to myself, because obviously that's very important. Words are literally like spells. They really affect the way we speak, the way we talk to ourselves, and the way we were going to speak to other people. And, you know, and besides that, I truly loved how everything just fell into place in the way it should be. Because previous me, every time I'm learning something or I need to study, I needed to go in my head now. Like, I need to understand it right now so I can apply it. And it never worked like that. It just never worked like that. So the coaching journey was the first time that I just let go. I just let go and I just let it happen. And the way that you've planned out your blueprint journey is everything integrates in its own time in the way it should for the individual. And I could feel that it was like waves of understanding what was happening every few weeks or every few sessions, depending on the person and the journey. For me, it was every few sessions, every few weeks, something new would just integrate into me. Either we spoke about it in the beginning or recently, or, you know, you can't plan that. You can't plan when you're going to understand something. And every time it integrated, I was like, yes, I finally get it. Like, I've been trying to understand this about myself for so many years. I've tried the podcast, I've tried the books, and then finally all the stuff that I've wanted to understand, it integrated within the coaching journey because of the way that you do it.
You said there is, like, in the past you've kind of had to go away and think about it and kind of get in your head about it, and that was one of the things that we worked on, wasn't it? Is about actually, okay, we're not just going to intellectualize things, we're going to actually experience, and letting go allows that experience to occur, doesn't it? Yeah. So one of the things that you got so good at was just trusting that intuition, listening to yourself and listening to those feelings, wasn't it?
Yeah. I didn't know I didn't trust myself. Like, I didn't realize that. And that was something we touched on, I think, in the first session. And from that moment on, I kept talking to myself and trying to really build that trust with me and myself. And I realized that the beliefs I had, that I forget stuff or whatever. It wasn't that I forget stuff. I just didn't have the trust within myself. I just had to build that trust, and I had to just let go a little bit. You know, I was constantly trying to study so much information and this and do this and do this. And I realized if I just let go and build that trust that we spoke about, it will all come. And since that first session, which was in September, I've never forgotten that. I've never forgotten, even when I'm driving, even when sometimes I lose that trust with myself, and I'm like, no, building that trust with myself. And at that small sentence, it might mean nothing for someone, but it changed everything for me. It changed everything.
How does it feel to be that connected with yourself, both heart and mind, and you've got that inner trust and intuition at play, and you're really like being led by it? How does it feel?
It feels right. It feels like I cannot believe that I was not living like that. Like, how was I living before? I mean, what was I doing? It feels that I'm able to make conscious decisions, conscious choices. I'm able to let go when I need to let go and not hold on to things so tightly anymore. And just, it's always about trusting the processes. Whatever process you're going through, it taught me just to trust, and it feels so safe now. I think now I realize that maybe I didn't feel so safe before in that environment, like trying to, whatever I was trying to do, study so much or whatever that was, I guess it didn't feel safe. And I was like trying so hard to control everything. But now I'm not. I just let it go. I trust. I rest when I need to rest. I do this when I need to do this, because I know it's going to happen if I just trust the process.
Amazing.
For sure, definitely. So the question is, what does your life look like now? What does everything look like now?
Where you headed?
Yeah.
Where you headed? What's going on now?
Okay, so I'm a sucker for New Year. Like, I love the start of anything new. So I love that our coaching journey like ended in the beginning of January, and now since then, I've been feeling way much calmer, way much trust with myself, and funny enough, because of that, I've been getting all the messages that I've needed within myself. Like, my intuition is so strong. I mean, like, I know when you're going to message me, Charlotte. I know when you're going to message. Every time. No, like, I'm joking. But I really have been receiving so many messages with myself, what I need, the nudges, the inspired action. And I've been listening. I've been listening to them because I trust myself. And every time I listen to the nudges that I get, a new door opens. A new opportunity opens. And that's been amazing, because I feel like before there was all this noise. And the noise was just all the beliefs, I guess, and all of these things that we had before I was even more aware and conscious. And now I feel like there's this amazing silence, and I can actually hear the answers that I need. And that's another thing that happened in the journey. You taught me to unlock these answers, like to get them, like because the answers are inside us anyway, but sometimes you just don't know how to get them out. And because of our coaching journey, I've literally been just bombarded with my own suggestions and signs and everything is just working out in the way it should be. And I think the main thing was, I'm not holding any more onto certain beliefs and sentences. Like, I don't anymore have these thoughts that I'm not consistent. Like, that's gone. Like, that's gone out the window. Before the coaching journey, I was always like asking myself, why am I not consistent? How come everyone else can do these things and I can't do them? And all these things. And these thoughts don't exist anymore. Like, they just don't. And right now I've been going through this new like version of myself that is thanks to our journey together. And it's been amazing, because I've been able to just embrace it and not fight with it so much. And now I also know, that's another thing that in the coaching, I remember you taught me that don't resist, or don't be so hard on your old version. Like, send your old version away with love. Don't push away, don't speak, send it with love, like an old friend. Yeah. And that's what's been going on as well. So I've literally been feeling this huge shift since our journey ended, that I'm stepping into a completely new version. I've been listening to all the messages I'm getting within myself. New doors are opening left, right, and center. And if you remember last year, I was just like, I thought I was stuck and like I was in a dry patch completely. That's what I thought. And yeah, the year has started completely different. It's as if I have a whole new lens on, like a whole new reality in front of me. It looks totally different.
Listen, it's amazing listening to you talk like this, because you make it just sound so matter of fact and so easy, and it is to a point, but you've also done the work and you've put the time in, and you've been open and you've been ready to receive and to hear these messages since coaching, during coaching, and it's obviously having a massive effect on what you're doing now. I know, obviously, like you said at the beginning, you're doing PT and you're doing coaching, and I know you're getting amazing results with your clients, and you get even more clients as well as a result. And I'm so excited to see what else is coming for you. I'm just like, you know, that we got like your biggest fans anyway. But
Yes.
we're just cheering you on all the way, because it's been an absolute pleasure to see kind of just your whole journey and to be part of it. So thank you from our side, really, because it's a pleasure. This is why we do what we do, like I said earlier.
Thank you so much for saying that. And you guys have been part of my journey as well since 2016. Like, I didn't know we would cross paths again after John left and after you left. I didn't know, and then we were back, you know, we've crossed back again, and it's just been a huge thing, because since day one, when I became a personal trainer, I was so scared. Like, and I even asked John, I don't know if you remember, I asked you, like, why would you hire me? I don't know anything.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's one of the reasons I did hire you, because like you hadn't even finished your personal training qualification yet, and I confident with my ability to see how I judge people in terms of their character. And one thing, 9 times out of 10, I always hire correctly, and it always goes based on feeling as opposed to qualifications. And one thing that came across in that interview was how genuine you were, and the fact that you said that, well, like you had that unconfidence, you had that fresh kind of that freshness to you coming in. You hadn't got all that baggage, all that kind of cockiness as some people coming into that industry do. So that's one of the reasons I hired you, because you had that air of vulnerability to you, and you were authentic and genuine about it. And I knew straight away after that you would do well. Like, regardless of how long you've been doing it for or what qualifications you had, it all comes down to you as a person, not what qualifications you have, or not how long you've been in an industry for. It all comes down to the person. It comes down to people skills, and you have that, and you could clearly see that.
Thank you. Like, you guys have believed in me from the start, and I'm so grateful for that.
Listen, it's something that, you know, you put your belief in people, you'll be surprised at what they can show you. It's an incredible thing. You put that belief in yourself, nothing stops you at all. Listen, there'll be people that are listening to this as well, like thinking about coaching. They'll be thinking about, is coaching for them? Is it something that they should be considering? And what John just said there about that authentic, genuine element that somebody has, that's essential as a coach. And I think anybody listening to this needs to remember that what feels right for you might feel right for somebody else, you know, and that's absolutely okay. And talk to coaches, see who you connect with, see who genuinely sees that potential in you as well, because that's going to be the thing that spurs you on and starts to ignite those little sparks to take you to that next level. What would you say to somebody that's listening to this that's thinking about coaching?
Don't even think twice. The fact that they've listened this far into the podcast, like, they that's a sign. They should go for it. It's gonna get them to where they want to be faster, and they're gonna realize stuff that they didn't even know that they had to search for it. Like, if you don't hire a coach, you most probably will be reading books and searching on Google and stuff. And if you so you can't only do so much like that. But when you have a coach, you find out things that you didn't even know that you could search about. You didn't even know that that's a possibility. And without those things, you can't move forward. You can try, but I promise you're going to keep going, like 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're not going to get anywhere. And hiring a coach, hiring you guys was the best thing I ever did. And it fell in the perfect time. Like, even though I had wanted it last year, January already, September, like, I believe everything happens in the time it's supposed to. And when it happened in September, I didn't even think twice. And it was the best thing. It got me to where I wanted to be faster and in other ways that I cannot even imagine. And I am a personal development junkie. Like, I read, I study, I do everything. And I promise you, you're not going to get the same, you're not going to get to where you want to be with books. It's different with a coach. You're going to get even further with a coach. And a lot of stuff that you struggle with, it's going to be eliminated completely.
Nice, awesome. Listen, I appreciate that obviously a lot, and I think the people listening will be able to really be inspired by that and inspired by your journey as well that you've shared today. Listen, like obviously we've talked a lot about your coaching experience with us, but you know you're a coach too, and I think it's important that people listening know where to find you, because they might listen to you and think, yeah, do you know what, she's saying things that are just really ticking the boxes for me. I want to go and talk to her, I want to coach with her, I want to just follow her. They're going to be thinking all these things. So where can people find you?
Instagram is the best place. It's called The Inner Stuff. And if you just send me a DM, I will definitely reply. And that is honestly the best place. That is like my little coaching hub.
Amazing.
Awesome, Dimi. Well, it's like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure coaching you. Like, you are someone who goes all in, you show up for yourself, and you do what needs to be done. We're just so thankful and grateful to basically for you letting us be part of your journey.
Thank you. I'm so grateful as well for you guys, honestly.
Awesome. So you got listen, watch this space. Go follow Dimi, see where she is, see what she's up to, because this is really only a small part of a very, very big, exciting journey that's to come.
Thank you.